Well, hello. Today we're in chapter 13 of Revelation. It's the chapter with the two hostile beasts who seek to oppose and overthrow the people and the purposes of God, but they cannot do it. In the Old Testament, particularly in the book of Daniel, empires are portrayed in terms of beasts. And they issue a political and a religious power over the people of God. They bring persecution and they bring opposition. Here, there's a picture in chapter 13 of a terrible beast arising first from the sea with 10 horns, 10 diadems on its horns, blasphemous names on its head. And the beast was like a leopard, his feet were like a bear, and his mouth was like the lion's mouth, and to it the dragon gave his power and his throne and great authority. It's clear that John is looking at the Roman Empire and he's seeing the succession of emperors from Augustus to Domitian as exercising an increasing focus and hostility in persecuting the church. It's a crushing power. Who is like the beast and who can fight against it? It overwhelms the people of God, blaspheming and seeking to make war against the saints and even to conquer them. And by that, it means to kill them. Persecution, restrictions on trade, all kinds of hassles and hardship, but also an increasing number of martyrs that later called Tertullian to rise up and say the blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church. Yes, this beast is a political power, but the second beast that arises has religious power and seeks to bring worship to the emperor. In the time that John lived, trades guilds existed. And in order to trade within the Roman world, you had to belong to a trade guild. But when the emperor wanted to control the individuals, what he did was required that they pay allegiance to him as God by offering up a pinch of incense. It wasn't a terribly seriously taken event, but it marginalized people like Christians for whom Jesus Christ as Lord was the only God that they would offer any worship to. And their refusal was taken not so much as a rejection of the emperor's deity, but as hostility and as potential insurrectionists. And so they were marginalized and they were sought to be wiped out. This was a horrible time for the church. And if you surrendered yourself to this process of simply offering up incense to the emperor, you could be issued with a certificate. With a certificate, you could trade and operate within society quite freely, but without it, you could experience severe hardship, financial ruin, and even imprisonment and death. John says in chapter 13, no one can buy or sell unless he has the mark. That is the name of the beast or the number of its name. This calls for wisdom. Let the one who understands calculate the number of the beast, for it's the number of man, and his number is 666. Well, there have been many different interpretations of the meaning of 666. It's one less than 777. The perfect number and the imperfect number, the mark of God and the mark of the devil. Probably in the first century it was simply the freedom to trade within the Roman world, but it anticipated there could come a time when totalitarian regimes could operate, and with our modern technology all kinds of anxious fantasies are projected into these verses about restrictions on our ability to move about, to trade, and to live happily. The truth is that if we're ever called to do anything that denies the unique sovereign Lord who loved us and died for us, we all have to make a choice. The great thing about that first generation of believers was they overcame. They overcame. The might of Rome fell and became a Christian empire. But the reign of terror ended, and a reign of peace of a different kind issued forth as the church emerged and grew to fill all the earth.